morning, everyone. Thank you for coming out to hear us present. We appreciate this opportunity for us to present you and the community our innovation. Cairo and I have been working on coming up with a foundational AI model for, I guess, 2 years now. Well, Cairo's definitely been working on it for more than 2 years. When he was 18, he came up with his own foundation 70 billion parameter AI model, but ran into the difficulties of scaling it. He had to spend over $16 an hour in GPU training in order to get his model to be intelligent. Unfortunately, we were not able to scale that model at that price, but very early on we realized that these solutions aren't scalable even on a global planetary size solution. So very early on, Cairo decided to research an alternative architecture for AI that does not scale on GPU, but on consumer hardware, which is one of the biggest issues that we are facing with artificial intelligence in our planet now. Let's see here. Let me go to the beginning. Okay, here we go. Our mission is to design and deploy and scale eco-friendly AI models responsibly. We plan to manage the risk across the full AI lifecycle, from research to global deployment, protecting users, stakeholders, and the public interest. Our vision, we see a world where AI advances human progress while respecting planetary limits, societal trust, and global responsibility. Our core values is sustainability, safety, ethics, stewardship, and global responsibility. Now, the true cost of AI. As I was mentioning, there's an energy crisis with AI, which I'm pretty sure everybody is aware of to some degree, but it seems that we kind of are ignoring it as a society as we continue to integrate AI into our world. But the energy crisis, so by 2030, AI will consume 21% of global energy. That is a lot.
Recording stopped.
The current architecture is 10 times less efficient than conventional compute. Power demand is doubling every 100 days. Renewable energy can't scale fast enough. Hardware acceleration hits physical limits. So, you know, as much as inventions as we have in software, that is just not going to do enough in time to save our environment from AI scaling. Now, what makes LOTIS different is that we're a new AI platform. We're engineered from first principles to drastically reduce energy overhead while maintaining, if not exceeding, current performance benchmarks. We're able to achieve high levels of general compression while running on standard computer software. We're also able to, because of that, we have lower energy requirements, and we can also repurpose existing hardware. So we don't need to scale on very expensive GPUs. And in fact, the current hardware we have in existence is more than enough to scale our AI foundational models. The ethical consideration, one of the things that we have to consider with AI is that as we train it, that it is not biased, that it is fair, that we address all privacy concerns, that we are comply with all regulations, and that we do proper risk assessment before we deploy any models in any communities. Now, the LOTIS language model IP. For our first feature in discovering an alternative AI architecture, we realized we were able to achieve the highest levels of compression in humanity. Cairo, please.
So our AI model, we decided to create a very specific application for it, which was for data compression. So with lossless, what essentially that means is we can take a piece of data and essentially reduce it significantly, and then our AI model can then redistribute that output. So for instance, you know, on your phone, typically when you're running low on storage, you either have the option of deleting emails, text messages, embarrassing photos, or you have to go and pay for the cloud, which no one likes to do. So our system provides a third option where we can literally take your existing data and literally shrink it without any downsides. MP3 players, for instance, they do something like that with music, except the audio quality isn't the same. But for our system, there is no degradation of the original file. It's all completely the same file from the beginning. So as it says here, we have 99.4% compression rate, so that means we can reduce a text file by 99.4%. So that is our current application of our AI technology.
Now, one of the things that we want to point out is the connection between AI and data compression, because when most people think of AI, they think of ChatGPT or Gemini chatbots or some of the agents that are coming out. So in order for an AI, in order for a large language model to work, it literally compresses all the data in the world and decompresses it when we have our inference. When we ask it a question, it decompresses the answers for us. When it decompresses, there is some of that data is lost, and it makes up for it with probabilistic mumbo jumbo, which is what we call hallucinations. So currently, the most powerful data compressors in the world are large language models, but as we know, large language models require a huge amount of compute, and we're looking at somewhere in the range of $1 to $50 billion to get this high rate of compression. Currently, as far as AI models are concerned, there is the Google Chinchilla model, which is a 70 billion parameter model designed to compress data, which achieves a compression ratio of 92.7%. Again, that is Google with multiple trillions of dollars, with billions of dollars dedicated towards AI model research and data compression. With our consumer hardware, we were able to achieve a 99.4% compression ratio, absolutely obliterating any competition. As far as the recognition goes, because most computer scientists won't believe this is achievable, could you tell them about the Hutter Prize?
Yes, so the Hutter Prize is or I should say it's a prize slash benchmark that was created by a senior researcher at Google DeepMind. And he's been running this for about 20 years now. And it's a competition just to see who can come up with the best compression algorithm, because he also believes that compression and intelligence are intertwined. And so currently, I plan eventually to submit our compression system to the Hutter Prize, so that way we can get the validation we need in order for people to fully understand the system as a whole. Because as my father said, it is very difficult for a lot of computer scientists and researchers to see something like this and say, oh, well, there's no way you guys could have done it if these trillion-dollar, billion-dollar companies weren't able to do it. So that is how we plan to establish ourselves.
Can you play the video?
My name is Cairo Miller, and this is the demo for the LOTIS compression system. So let's get right into it. Now, this demo has two parts. There is the training part, which I'll show in 2 seconds, and then there's the decompression part. So since the training part is going to take about 2 minutes to run, I'm going to go ahead and get that started up right away, and then I'll explain what exactly is going on in just a moment. So thankfully I have a file full of commands here. So we're going to go ahead, just take this, and we can begin training. Excellent. So here's what's happening. Currently, our model is training on the entirety of the English dictionary. You can see the 27.6 megabytes on the progress bar here, and that is also the size of the dictionary data that we have here. And here you go, here are the contents of the dictionary. So this is the chosen data set, and that's what our system is currently training on. Now I'm going to use this time to sort of go over a few more things. So as our system, or as the AI system continues to train on all of these patterns in the dictionary, it's currently writing to a compressed file. So this essentially will contain all of the patterns that it has learned from training on said dictionary, and it will be able to use this compressed file as sort of like a key. So that way we would hand this file back to our model, and it will be able to regenerate the original content back. So it'll continue to do that over time. Furthermore, if we take a look at the system resources, we'll go ahead and take a look at this. Now, as you can see, the CPU is handling the computation as it's fluctuating, going up from 10 to 20%, etc. This system scales off of CPU. This architecture is different. This is not transformers. This is not anything a part of the current deep learning architecture, which is why this system is so memory efficient, as you can see, and why it runs on CPU. The only thing the GPU is currently using, or the GPU is being used to run OBS on my system. That is it. Outside of that, if I wasn't running OBS to record this video, the GPU usage would pretty much be non-existent. The system scales off of CPU, and it works rather well. So there's also another point I really want to touch on, and it's the fact that we were able to toss in this raw dictionary file just right off the bat. For anyone who's watching this video who has ever trained or fine-tuned an AI model, you're probably aware of how difficult it is to get started with the training data phase. You usually have to gather all of it and annotate it and go through so many hurdles just to even get your data prepared. But in our system, any data, any raw data will work. You can just simply toss in a bunch of it, and our system will train on that data in real time. There's no preparation phase that you need to go through. You don't need to do anything in terms of annotation. It just works right out of the box. So this is perfect. As you can see, the system is done. It took about 2.5 minutes to finish. Now here's the incredible part. This is the 99.4% compression rate that we advertise on our brochure. This was the main breakthrough that we have with this model. So it goes from 27 megabytes, which is the size of the dictionary that I just showed, all the way down to 156 kilobytes, which is this compressed file here. So this is where the magic happens. I'm going to go ahead and clear all of this, get this all out of the way. And I have another command in this file that will regenerate the entire dictionary for us. But before we do that, I'm going to go ahead and actually delete this, because our system just trained from the patterns of the original dictionary file. It no longer needs the original file. So we're going to go ahead. I'm going to paste this command in here. I'm even going to take an extra step. I'm going to delete this original file path. We'll go back to the compressing DB folder again. We will copy its location, and we'll paste it in here just to show. And here we go. So the system is currently printing out the entire English dictionary, 100% lossless. It will not make any mistakes with the syntax of any of the content within this dictionary. It will continue to print this until it is complete. So that is the beauty of the system. Current AI models cannot do this without any form of hallucination or without breaking the bank. The system can do this on consumer hardware. Everything you're witnessing is all on my own laptop, all with basic resources. Now, of course, even though this is incredible, it's taking quite a while, right? It's just printing everything line by line. Well, what if I want to get the content of my original file back? Thankfully, decompression is not actually this slow. If we come back over here, and if we scroll down, we have a regen file here. We click on it, and as you can see, it has the original content of the dictionary file I showed earlier. So decompression is very quick. It's not actually this slow. I mean, this is already, it's already almost done. It's over halfway done to being able to regenerate the original dictionary file back. So again, this is just for demonstration purposes to, just show the output of the system, to show the 100% lossless outputs. And yeah, that's essentially how this will work. So I'm going to let this run its course for a minute. Eventually, it'll get rid of all of this, and it'll have the same amount of megabytes as our original dictionary data set. And, again, just to go back and show that even the outputs, everything is still just running directly on CPU. This is all just, now my GPU is having to put in overtime just to render this, but the computations themselves, everything all on CPU. I have no code that is writing to the GPU. And here we go. So this is our original dictionary file back. which is excellent. There's one final thing I would like to show. So we can compare standard compression algorithms to the LOTIS compression system. I'm going to bring this back. And just out of curiosity, let's see how something like zip handles the compression rate. So we can go ahead and see, and it is at 10 megabytes, which, I mean, that's reducing it by about 2/3, 10.1 megabytes, and this is, zip is very standard, but compared to our system, which has a 156 kilobytes, which is at 99.4% compression rate, it's not even close to what the LOTIS compression system can do. So, to recap, what you just saw was our proprietary foundational AI model trained on a dictionary data set in real time. It scales off of CPU, it's very memory efficient, and it was able to then take a 156 kilobyte file, which is practically nothing, and we were able to feed it directly back into the model, and it was able to regenerate all of the previous content back. So this was the LOTIS compression system, and I hope you enjoyed the demo.
Thank you. Just a quick recap. So the LOTIS compression service, as far as industry implications, now compression as a service, CAAS, generates over $3 billion a year in revenue with an expected growth at around 8% annually. What's interesting though, there has not been any innovations in general data compression as a service in, the last 40 years. The zip file that we showed you is the standard data compression for general data compression, still even used today. So the impact on data centers and RAM, as many people know, we're coming up to a RAM shortage. So 90 to 99% reduction in data centers' physical footprint and energy consumption. A 99.4% increase in VRAM efficiency, completely eliminating the RAM storage overnight. Financial industry. Banks would save hundreds of millions in storing transaction histories. Data can be moved 166 times faster, instantly syncing global financial information. And SEC auditors and other compliancy regulators will get bit-perfect records in seconds, dating back decades. Telecoms. 4G and 5G networks increase capacity by 16,000%. 6G is now a reality. And this is all done on existing hardware and infrastructure. Consumer data falls to less than 1 penny per gigabyte. Healthcare, well, actually, I have a healthcare slide specifically. We did a case study on Yale New Haven Health. Yale New Haven Health sees services over 5.5 million patients and generates 6 to 14 petabytes of new data every year. They have a data lake exceeding 50 to 100 petabytes constantly. Currently, what they use to compress, standard compression between between a 2 to 1 and a 5 to 1 ratio. Our 99% represents a 166 to 1 ratio. So that means current data storage cost by Yale New Haven Hospital is between $20 to $40 million annually. We can reduce that to under $250,000 per year. Data recovery. Backing up 100 petabytes across regions is a massive network undertaking. We can compress that to 600 terabytes, and that changes recovery time from days to minutes. Also, 1 gigabyte thin slice CAT scans become 6 megabytes, making downloading instant and saving crucial minutes in life-saving procedures. We did a case study on Travelers Insurance. Travelers Insurance, they spend about $1.5 billion a year on AI and tech initiatives. Cloud and data storage accounts for 25 to 30% of that spend. That's roughly about $450 million in storage and cloud egress fees, and we can reduce that by $447 million, so about 2.5 to 3 million, we can get their data storage costs down from 450. Their innovation 2.0 strategy generates a ton of data for drone footage, telemetrics, medical records, and so forth. With our standard compression, the field agents, the claims adjusters, will actually have these tools with them on the laptop locally instead of having to rely on massive cloud compute and storage. Risk management and compliance, this basically ensures that all the compliance is bit perfect, uncompromised, and it adds layers of obfuscation aligning with NIST and ISO 27001 data protection standards, and it also aligns with 2006 sustainability and carbon neutrality goals. Our LOTIS IP defense strategy. Now, what's interesting, the top 5 largest IP litigation awards in 2024, four of the 5 were for data storage and memory technology. The highest one was for wireless 5G connectivity, which our technology has an implication. I didn't include that one because that was the biggest IP litigation award in history, but it did not go through because the jury felt that that sum was too big, but the other 4 did, and those are among the highest IP awards ever. So we definitely plan on patenting our technology in all viable jurisdictions in the world within the next 30 months. We are also going to make our software open source. We're going to use a AGPL v3, which is a strong copyright left. So it's designed to ensure the software remains free and open, but derivative works must be licensed under the AGP v3 and made public. So you can't privatize it and make money off of that license. We will then have an Apache 2.0 license, which is designed to encourage widespread adoption. It includes a proprietary use, so closed source, but that license is what we will actually be charging a licensing fee for, and it will also include a service level agreement. So we get, both ends. We get the recognition, we get the widespread adaptation, and we also can profit from it in the Apache 2.0 license. Just further along, we originally started this as a large language model, what most people believe, like Claude or OpenAI or Gemini. We do have plans to further develop the model into a full language model, but we just happen to come across this amazing compression as a service feature first that we're running with. But in the future, we plan to do clinical diagnostic tools, productivity agents, and deep research tools. And I think Cairo has mentioned.
Right, also an indexing system, one where, as you saw in the video demo, it was printing up the dictionary. I was also thinking of coming up with a system so where you can query your own documents. So you can have maybe terabytes of data, and instead of needing to parse and sift through all of that data, you can simply just do a lookup and find exactly what you need across, again, terabytes. So in the future, we plan to develop.
Again, not the most, flashy AI tools, but there is definitely a big industry for it, and there are several multi-billion-dollar businesses that are thriving just off of that indexing service alone. That comes to the conclusion of our presentation. Join the mission. Build the AI platform of the future. Be a first mover in sustainable AI infrastructure. Licensing opportunities across all verticals, defensible intellectual property, decouple AI growth from environmental collapse, and build what OpenAI, Google, and Meta cannot. And the last thing I like to leave you with, one of the things that we did was we put into Gemini, a Google search, what is the impact on humanity if a 99.4% compression ratio of general lossless data is achieved? It literally broke our chatbot and said this is on par with the greatest innovations in humanity. So we are just happy to share this with you, and hopefully that it proves successful. and it proves all of those claims, and we can help humanity move into a cleaner future with AI. Thank you. Any questions?
I have one question.
Sure.
And I don't want to, and I know you're on camera and everything, and you just don't patent it, but are prime numbers involved significantly in the calculation of this reduction method?
Partial, I would say partial.
Okay.
Partial. Yeah.
I don't ask anything else.
That's okay. When we release the open source version, we'll be able to answer all technical questions, and we will be publishing as well.
That's awesome.
Yes.
So to recap, you have a lossless, backwards compatible compression model. It works on standard GPU or CPUs. You don't need special hardware. You're much more power efficient, and it's comparable in speed to the existing models.
Yeah. Yes.
Who are you working with IP on this?
Yes. We are working with Wigan and Dana. They are recognized as probably one of the leading law firms in New England. Definitely one of the top IP attorneys in the country. So yeah, we are pretty well legaled up when it comes to IP.
Okay. And then in terms of have you benchmarked your power consumption and, for instance, doing the demo that you did with your model versus the existing tools? It'd be interesting to see some data on what does that look like from a power consumption, costs, infrastructure, and being able to, if you're not only better, but you're cheaper, that's an even more compelling argument. So
I haven't done an exact benchmark on the power consumption, but all I know is, of course, since we don't even touch GPUs at all, and that's what the main architecture currently scales off of, and CPUs are significantly cheaper, we already know that we are, again, vastly more efficient. I did have in the video, though, the memory consumption, which is, as we know, right now with RAM prices, is incredibly important, but that is definitely something I'll keep in mind.
And the other thing is too, my electric bill hasn't gone over $60 a month. It's running this, so thank goodness that is energy efficient.
nice job.
Thank you. Oh, so do we have a question?
Great presentation.
Thank you.
I'm especially impressed with the case studies. Have you shared it with any of those guys, or do you intend to?
I'm glad you brought that up. I'm actually an employee for Yale New Haven Health, and they have a innovation summit. I respectfully declined the invitation because of bi-dole affiliation. So we are keeping as independent as long as possible, so that way we keep 100% of our IP. Once our IP is fully established and we've formalized our how would you say once we formalize our acknowledgement that we've achieved this, then we'll go back and present them with a licensing opportunity. Right now, we are still in somewhat of a development mode, at least for the next 60 days, which we're trying to avoid any major involvement with companies, so to speak, or organizations that may try to claim our IP. The good thing is that because we're using consumer hardware, we don't need any of their support for development, so we can literally sit down at the table ready to license. I know, did that answer it a bit? I mean, I know, okay, because there are opportunities to approach these organizations, and I was talking with Tassie about it, that it's important to figure out, who the decision makers are, because these organizations are quite large. But I think that absolutely. But I think to solidify our IP and solidify our recognition, will help us best, because even if once we figure out who these people are, we may only get that one shot, that 1 5-minute time frame to sell it. So we want to make sure that we have everything behind us when we do make those formal approaches.
And you also have a team here ready to put together?
Yes. Right now we have a advisor. He's a former CFO of IBM in the UK. He's based in Connecticut, and being a former, he left IBM about 2 years ago after being a senior executive for 30 years, and he has an AI governance company. So he's going to be our hand-holding advisor.
Okay, awesome. Congratulations with that.
Thank you.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Great presentation, great solution. When do you expect it to be validated? I know you mentioned the award. What's the timing of that, or any other activities you have on the validation side?
So on the validation side, that's going to take about 60 days. When I submit the system, the source code of the system, to Marcus Hutter himself and his committee to review it, it has about a 30-day waiting period. And so currently I'm in development mode, just making sure my system meets the qualifications and the parameters for that.
Yeah, also, we're also in talks with several entities in Namibia, in Southern Africa. We found that penetrating that market has less bureaucratical resistance than here. We spoke with a leading IT company that does the IT for all the government ministries, so we'll be able to plug right into their national grid quite efficiently and quite quickly. The benefit to a developing nation is monumental, because right now they're kind of pushed out of AI. They have to rely on these big monolithic companies, which we all do. The problem is they don't have sovereign control of their data. In order to deal with these big AI companies to get these tools, they have to export all of their data to whatever jurisdiction that they're not in control of. The vice versa is if they bring in the hardware, which is, as you know, is very, very expensive. Namibia has a GDP of 15 billion. They're not going to be able to, even if they took all their money, they still couldn't even, scale a large language model. So that decouples them from the hardware that's needed for them to have their own sovereign solutions, and they are quite excited. So the things that we have going is not, it's dynamic, it's not linear, it's not we're waiting to do this, then to do this. It's all going on all at once. So as we get through the different stages, we have key players in key markets ready to deploy our technology. Yes.
Question, sorry. So in 60 to 90 days, you might have IP protection and validation. Are you going to be in a position to need to raise capital to scale?
That's an interesting question. There's a few pathways that we have that we've been considering. That is definitely one of them that we're definitely going to be open to seeking investment. But also, we're also thinking about licensing our software as well. Specifically with the indexing system I brought up earlier, where we can have that license to different companies at the enterprise level. So, but we are considering that as an option.
And one of the other things too is with the Hutter Prize, the max prize is 500,000 euros. So that would give us enough to really solidify our early business structure, so that way we can immediately take on licensed partners, because we'll have that structure. At that point, we'll be able to gauge if we need any VC involvement, any investment involvement in order to scale. Hypothetically, we don't. $500,000 would be enough to solidify our strategy and be able to offer the first licensing contracts. Unfortunately, it could be, well, fortunately, it could be such a big contract that we would actually have to take some VC money in order to scale the solution for that large of a licensee. So we are open to that, but it is designed that we are going to avoid VC money and dilution as long as possible.
Yeah, you can also do a combination of debt too if you have a contract.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I have a quick question.
Yes.
Yeah. So are you, presently you are protected with your, first of all, I should say very good presentation.
Thank you.
Are you protected right now as a company so no one can get your information that you are reviewing or pitching to others at this time? That's one. And two is that whenever you're going to decide, I know you said you had a lawyer to make sure you protect yourself because investors contract, as what I presented before, the contract is nice and the money might be nice, but underneath what really it is, are you going to lose all your stuff? So you do have someone protecting you. That's what I'm saying.
Oh, absolutely. You know, in coming up with the IP strategy, we realized really quickly IP in data storage is very, very, very lucrative, largely because these large companies, they're going to steal our technology. We know that for a fact because that's literally what they do. They steal it, and then if you come back and sue them, then you win, then you get your money. But they will take it first. By making it open source, we are definitely daring them to do so. But we feel comfortable in that strategy because of the IP protection that we have with our attorneys. And also, until we release it open source, everything is protected under trade secret. And we have not revealed anything compromising to our IP as of yet. Thank you.
I'm assuming that I know that you're working with Dana and the previous exec from IBM. It sounds like some of your clients are very highly regulated industries, travelers and Young Haven. So are you also working with them for security requirements, both related to sort of like HIPAA or any other sort of SOC 2 requirements, just security requirements on your particular product, so that if they do pilot, you can say that your product is secure enough to meet those industry standards?
Yes, absolutely. One of the things that we're doing with our Apache 2.0 license, which is the license that our enterprise customers are going to take, is we're going to include an indemnification clause where it protects, obviously, with all the patent litigation involving IP storage in memory. Their concern is, okay, if I take this open source software and I build, $1 trillion solution on it, is somebody going to sue me because you invalidate, because your patent is invalidated and so forth. So we have that insurance in place to protect to make our enterprise clients feel more comfortable in using our software. And directly with compliancy, as far as compliancy goes, we also have another law firm, Carmody and Hennessy. They have a data security specialist that has all the data security certifications and is licensed in multiple jurisdictions, because data security in Europe is definitely not the same as in the United States. So we are making sure our software is compliant for European distribution. Yes.
So in terms of like proving it, like showcasing, going back to what Steve was saying, it'd be helpful to see how, like, what errors, if any, occurred in the reconstituted dictionary versus the original. So you had the original, you compress it to 156 KB, and then you reconstituted it. So what changed? Like what words? What?
Character map showing that there's no distortion whatsoever.
I see. And then to do that, and then just as like a little experiment, and then to do that with the other systems like ChatGPT or whatnot, or like whatever, or Zip or what have you, all of those compression things. And just to get so here's the time, like a little experiment, like scientific experiment using that dictionary. And it's fascinating because Claude Shannon started, the mathematical theory of communication started with the dictionary, and all words underneath, all words with 8 letters or less, I think, is what he used to analyze entropy. So it's very fitting, right? Everything.
Right. I'll definitely take that into account.
Yeah, I think we did discuss that before. That's, you know, to come up with a video representation for that probably would have been, you know, a bit time consuming with other development needs. But that's why, you know, Cairo wanted to make sure that he showed that the dictionary is being printed out letter for letter. But obviously, you know, once we get to a more technical presentation, then that would be something that we would definitely have to show. Thank you.
Very, very interesting.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? Are we good? All right. Thank you so much for the opportunity to present. We really appreciate this this forum, and there's not too many opportunities that that we get to present and demonstrate our innovation without going through, you know, a major university or a major program. So we're very appreciative for that, and thank you all very much for showing up.
Before we end, you know, what as a community can we do for you?
I guess
Help spread the word
It's-
after, especially after we submit the code to the Hunter Prize, and after I publish, that would help a lot.
Well, you're part of our community, and we're happy to support you in your journey, and we'd love for you to come back with any updates. Come back and present an update after 3 months. And we'd love to see you again.
Thank you.
So I wanted to present you with our thanks. Thermos, Link Up's Thermos. Thank you very much.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
And